Okay, Rinpoche, do you want me to start with the prayer?
Yeah, you start the opening prayers.
That's so. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the merit of practicing generosity and so forth, may I accomplish Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the merit of practicing generosity and so forth, may I accomplish Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the merit of practicing generosity and so forth, may I accomplish Buddhahood for the benefit of beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering. May all sentient beings never be parted from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in great equanimity, free from bias, attachment, and hatred. The ground is purified with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Sumeru, the king of mountains, the four quarters of the universe, and the sun and the moon. Thinking of it as the blessed Buddha field, I offer it. By virtue of this offering, may all beings here and now attain the happiness of that pure realm. Tram Guru Ratna Mandala Putsa Mega Samudra Saparana Samaya Ahong. In accordance with the individual motivations and mental capacities of sentient beings, I request you to please turn the wheel of Dharma, the great, small, or common vehicle.
Okay. Brian. So, hello everybody. First, please take a deep breath. Inhale fully. Expand your chest and stomach. And exhale all the stress. Make your mind like a space, spacious, free from boundaries. And within that, cultivate the mind to attain complete enlightenment, Buddhahood, for the benefit of all sentient beings. So this is our principal project that we're starting practicing these precious Dharma teachings. As just to remind everybody, Buddhist, non-Buddhist, educated, uneducated, rich or poor, every sentient beings desire to have peace and happiness. There's no any doubt, questions about that. And everybody desire to free from suffering. These are not just a culture, belief, but inborn qualities that within us. Yet they are not happening just saying some prayers or wishing for. We have to work hard to experience peace and happiness. We have to work hard to free from suffering. Because of that, everybody keep busy. Yet sometimes when we are fail to connect with the right cause, then this happiness is not there, even though how much we want. When we fail, connect to the cause or create the cause, we fail to free from suffering, even though how much we want to free from suffering. So here we're touching to the basic cause. As I mentioned repeatedly, it's not a Buddhism, but it's a universal. We're studying Buddha's teaching not as a Buddhism, but Buddha enlightened about this subject, about the causality of the samsara and nirvana. Totally reveal all without missing any points. So that's why Buddha has such great wisdom. Wisdom knowing everything as it is and everything how functions within in the dimension of the causality. That's why we're starting practicing what Buddha taught accordingly, So we should not take as a religion or as a culture, but open our heart, how universally now constituted all the causality from which then all the different manifestations, they just emanate according to the cause and conditions. So all this is have to do something with our mind, as I mentioned. The mind is very profound. The mind is very vast. And the mind is very complicated. And we ourselves, we don't know our own mind. Since we don't know our own mind, we don't touch to our own mind. We always focus on the outside. We expect our peace and happiness coming from outside. We expect suffering just go away from outside instead of looking inside. Even this 21st century, the technologies are so advanced. The science is so advanced, but still they are lacking that kind of wisdom to penetrate the mind as a center piece of the all which lies all this causality. So here what we're studying, try to understand how to tackle the mind, which is the root cause of samsara and nirvana. So samsara and nirvana is within in your own mind. As I mentioned a few times, look at your mind. When you're so angry, when you're so upset, how much now you are going through according to that state of the mind. That mental state becomes so destructive for yourself and for others. As soon as within that state of the mind, when the glimpse of wisdom or this anger, the rage, it's not right. It's your own mind. As soon as when you reflect on that, it slows down your anger, your rage, aversion. And within that state, when there's within that, when there's some sense of compassion, oh, it's not right to have this kind of anger. I must develop compassion. And that mind, there is a real peace. No. So you can see the difference. It's still your mind, you see. Everybody has only one mind, each. But see, everything is in instant. So that here, what we are studying and practicing is about that. How to try to get rid of all the cause of suffering, the delusion. Try to manifest, maintain the cause for peace and happiness. That is, you see, as a mission, it's not a Buddhism. It's everybody's interest. But the only few, handful, are interested. No. Just look at, say, everybody in the world, reflect on this, how much the world will be better. Everybody kind of reflects the disadvantage of these mental delusions and try to minimize, purify how the world will be. Just you see. But here in our own individual world, in our own mind, how to bring peace and happiness. From there we start to helping others. Well, we are full of these delusions. Try to help others. It's not a practical thing. It may not work. So we acknowledge ourselves. What kind of limitation I have and what we can help others. And say, so this is what was now studying, especially now here, these few weeks we have been studying the diligence from the Bodhicharyavatara, this chapter 7. Now please understand this, you see. There's 6 parameters, as you know. To perfect all the 6 parameters, the diligence is the central chapter. By the diligence, by the perseverance, we perfect the practice of generosity, moral ethics. By the diligence, perseverance, we perfect the practice of patience, samadhi, wisdom. So that's why in the Madhyamaka Avatara mission, all the excellent qualities are follows the perseverance, diligence. The diligence is the root cause for the perfection of the accumulation of merit and wisdom. So please bear that in our mind. Please keep this. Now here, today we come to here, We just, last time we did the chapter, the verse 60. So when I am beleaguered by defilement, I will stand and face them in 1,000 ways. I will not surrender to the host of the afflictions, but like a lion, I will stand amid a crowd of foxes. So this, as I mentioned, in the world, you see nowadays everywhere, there's no any university, college to teach like this. Look at all the TV and you see the media, there's advertisement to increase your desire, your greed, your ego. And from that, there arise the anger, resentment, which is based on the ignorance. No. So here, what you are touching is touching on the cause of the suffering, how to get rid of them. Here we're touching the cause to accumulate. So the result, peace and happiness. You know, everybody pray, may the world be peace. May everybody be happy. I pray to God. I pray to Buddha. There will be peace in the world. There is a happiness in the world. But we never touch the subject. What are the causes of the peace and happiness? It's very, you see, scientific, based on reason. If you don't believe cause, but you are in the cause. If you want to make a good dish, you have to create all the causes and conditions to have a delicious meal. The delicious meal will not come out from without cause, conditions. See? So the mind is, you see, mission. Mind is the centerpiece of all this. So that's why I say, I will never take refuge in the defilements, mental afflictions. By any means, I will purify them, because you are the total, no point that we have to work. Buddha cannot come there, say, I will take away all your mental afflictions. Or say, God comes here, take away all your mental afflictions. There's no history. We say, please, God, please bless us so that we have peace, happiness. But we're not thinking what the cause of peace and happiness. So look at this, you see. The mission is not a Buddhism. It's not something else. It's not a culture. It's universal. So now today here we have come to this here. Here we are now touching it's called the confidence of the afflictions, means have the full confidence how to get rid of the mental afflictions. the mental, as I mentioned, mental afflictions is rooted in everybody's mind. Rich person, poor people, high status people, low caste, high caste. It doesn't kind of discriminate. The powerful people has no power as long as when the mental afflictions are rooted, there's a suffering. So we have to understand this and we have to work here. So here, please understand, since this is so complex, not easy, you see. So Shantideva describes in many different ways in this all 10 chapters, you see. All these 10 chapters are described how to deal, how to purify our delusions, obscurations, mental afflictions, using so many different methods. And there's so many steps we take. Sometimes many of you have heard of, yes, emptiness is a solution. Mahamudra, yes, Dzongsar, yes. They are the total, total tool to get rid of all our mental afflictions. But I mentioned, until you see everything as an illusion, until you see everything as the nature of the emptiness, just touching itself as emptiness is the duality. And there's a high expectation in the grasping everything as a sense of real. Within that, you are touching to the emptiness, touching to the Mahamudra, Dzongsar. It's not a practical thing. It can bring more suffering. That's why first we need to reflect on the impermanence. Everything is a manifestation. Everything is a reflection of the cause. Then from there, you see, come slowly to the emptiness. It's very effective. Otherwise, there's no magic. No. If emptiness alone is enough, Buddha should have spoken right at the beginning. So everything is empty. Buddha doesn't have to say anything. Then that moment, everyone is enlightened. Since that is the not case, we have to deal it step by step. You see. So, here's, however, here, as mentioned here, we are now touching on the confidence of the affliction, means confidence how to get rid of the mental afflictions, defilements. So however great may be their peril, means these mental afflictions, they are powerful. First of this example, however great may be their peril, people will by reflex guard their eyes. In the midst of chaos, throwing rocks here, there, everybody will close their eyes, protect their eyes. If somebody is beating on your back, still you close your eyes, protect your eyes, you see. And likewise, whatever dangers comes, means whatever mental afflictions comes, must not fall down, must not fall down beneath defilement's power, you see, showing the courage. As I mentioned, sometimes there's such a great anger, a rage anger. You have no hesitate to kill. Or sometimes there's strong desire, attachment. You risk your life at that moment. You need such a vigilance to recognize that. So I have been doing this for countless lifetimes. No? And I have not achieved anything, nothing but suffering. So just build your courage to challenge mental affliction. This is like a war in the war, So this is the diligence. We need a diligence to reflect the disadvantage being under the beneath of the mental afflictions or defilements, or advantage to get out of that. So meditate on this. So here, see, we have to have such a, we have to have such kind of awareness on this diligence. See, this was called diligence. And reason because, you see, nobody can throw you in the hell realm except by these mental afflictions. Now, when you read Milarepa's life story, there's so many maras, devils coming to destroy him, to disturb his meditation. Some are so huge, some are so ugly, some are so beautiful. There are hundreds and thousands. But Milarepa's mind is never waver, never moved. Then you see, he said, you go ahead. No matter how powerful you are, you may destroy, take my life, but you cannot throw me in the hell realm. So his fearlessness, he has no fear. So we need that kind of strength here. See? And then goes on next, see, better for me to be burned to death and better to be killed, my head cut off. At no time will I bow and scrap before that foe of mine, defiled emotions. Now this stanza, some say it's not in the real text. No, it's just somebody included here. But here is very good, you see. When you face in this kind of peril, danger, surrounded by all these mental afflictions, Like say in the jungle, you are surrounded by all these beasts of the mental afflictions. So there we need such a kind of fearlessness mind. Say, even I be burned, even I am killed, no, my head cut my head, but I will never bow down to these mental afflictions. Because in the samsara, you see, look at, you see, like the ego. When the ego is so strong, then how much suffering is there? We can't let go of my ego. No. And because of the ego, then there's so kind of anger, so much anger, resentment. Because the ego, there's so much attachment, greed, pride, jealousy, you see. All these mental afflictions are surrounded to the ego. And if we bow down to the ego, yes, I'm the surface of you. Please tell me, what should I do? Then we suffer all the time. So this non-existence, the ego, we should let go. It's just a mirage. It's just ignorance. So all these mental afflictions, it's just a habit. It's an inveterate habit. So we should let go of these habits. But we have to practice. It's not that easy, you see. It's not easy at all. Very difficult. That's why many practitioners are not successful. First, you see, as soon as when you hear these teachings, people like, oh, Buddhism is beautiful. I want to study, practice. So, they're so beautiful. Then you study, practice for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Your all mental affliction stays unchanged. And then you are frustrated. So now I cannot practice. Now I give up. We fail. So many we fail because our mental afflictions, they are so strong. They are powerful. And our dedication is so weak, so poor. And we have a lot of excuses. But by giving up these Dharma teachings, there's no alternative to achieve the freedom or the peace and happiness, free from suffering. There's no alternative. Look at it carefully. You may go to the mountain. There's no place. You may go to the ocean. There's no place for total peace and happiness or where there's no suffering. We go suffering with us because of mental afflictions. So that's why it's here, this is, So then 62a, thus in every time and a place, every time means today, tomorrow, this week, next month, next year, this life, and the place wherever I am. No, whether you are in the European countries, you are in the Northern America, or Central America, Southern America, or Asia, or China, Vietnam, anywhere you are, see, I will not wander from the wholesome path. See, I will never give up this teaching, saying basically, here in Tibetan it's called wholesome path. Is okay. It's an antidote. It's remedy for the mental afflictions. So in Tibet, it's called rik ragu rikasa. Rik means reason. Where I have to depend on the reason. Means this makes sense. It's a cause of suffering. This makes sense. It's cause for peace and happiness. So because of this, I avoid the cause of suffering because I don't want suffering. I have to follow this path because it's a cause for peace and happiness. It's not my choice, but it's the cause, the condition, the reality nature. So I have to follow. So this is what it means, So from down here, it's called, now we have last time, there's four forces. The force of aspiration, the force of steadfast, and the force of relinquish, and force of joy. So here's a joy. We practice Dharma joyfully. Here comes here now. Like those who take great pleasure in their games. See, whatever task Bodhisattvas do, let them devote themselves without reserve, with joyfulness that never knows satiety, non-satisfaction, he's saying. Now first you see, like those who take the great pleasure in their games, you see. In the samsara, you look at in the samsara, those people who play in the casino, they're never satisfied. Or like, gymnastic, or those playing in the snow in the winter. Then in the ocean, swimming, they take such a great pressure of these all. See? So here, I practice bodhicitta to achieve complete enlightenment for the benefit of all the sentient beings. So whatever, task the Bodhisattvas do, let them devote, means persistently, themselves without reserves, without reservation. You have to practice fully, he's saying. Don't negotiate. Joyfully follow the path. I must practice these teachings. Like say 6 paramitas. First you study, then you understand the point. Then meditation practice. Meditation practice there, then like six parameter mentioned. Practice of generosity, moral ethics, patience, perseverance, meditative samadhi, meditative concentration, and wisdom awareness. Without reservation, fully follow the path. So with joyfulness, in the mind, feeling of privilege. I'm so fortunate. Now, somehow, now I just kind of follow into the path. I connected to this path. I'm so fortunate. So it's my privilege to practice these teachings. Even though sometimes not easy, but joyfully follow. So they never knows, you see, they never knows satiety, no satisfaction, without satisfaction. In the world, in the samsara, that letter will come, Today you got such a delicious lunch. Today you say, yes, this was so good. Now let's try tomorrow, let's try next week, next month. Every day, you are never satisfied. So it's a Dharma practice. It's something you'd have to do every day. Contemplate. One of the main kind of force to do this, you see, look at the impermanence. As this is touched, later will come as well. But look at everything is impermanent. Especially the impermanence of the death. I will die one day. Now that time, which will help me? Nothing else except the Dharma. If I have a practice of bodhicitta, the relative bodhicitta, the absolute bodhicitta, emptiness, that will help me. It's a cause. Again, I mentioned sometimes Buddhists believe everything is emptiness. It's not a belief, It's reality. Whole universe is constituted within in the emptiness. See, so it's a matter of your understanding and the practice. See? So, in reality, everybody has to follow this path. But if you make Buddhism as one separate religion, then we say, I don't want to follow Buddhist. I want to follow my own. Because it made a mistake. We made a mistake, see, making Buddhism as a separate religion. We should have such a mental capacity, power to share everywhere, all over the world. Buddhism is this total solution of the conflict, suffering, and the samsara. Total solution for the freedom, because it talks about the causality, doesn't talk about religion or culture or belief system. You see, if we could have started that way, things would be much better. So we all should understand this and make every effort. When we study, practice Buddhist teaching, don't practice as a religion, but as the universal cause to free from suffering and to achieve peace and happiness. Because as I mentioned, it lies on the mind. So this much I can say, no? Then verse 64. So now here, people level hard to gain contentment, though success is very far from sure. So it is now explained more clear. So people labor, they work hard, See, labor hard, they work hard to gain contentment, to be happy. So this is it's a joyous effort, it's a joyful force, you see, to achieve, to get the contentment. They work hard. Like say in the politics, you see, you can see in the government, all the politics, those people who are in the member of the parliament, everybody's working so hard to bring some benefit, peace, happiness, but not sure yet. Business, you see, there's big business. They are working so hard day and night to bring some happiness, contentment in their life, but not so sure. So sometimes there's a way to take risk. There's always risk, but we have to take. Sometimes you are fail. And sometimes you are, you gain, you got the profit, but not sure yet. But the samsara is always like that. You look at the stock market, sometimes it goes so high. Everyone is so excited. It's high because this. Sometimes it's a plunk, go around, and everyone's heart is broken. You never know, So this is, though success is very far from sure, but there's no absolute on that, you see. Even though you are maybe very successful, still not perfected. Still you are not fully satisfied. Even you are billionaire, trillionaires, still you have not achieved the contentment. You are not satisfied, you see. But here say, if you practice bodhicitta, but how can they be happy if they do not do this practice of bodhicitta? Those deeds that are the source of joy to them, see, for the enlightenment. Means by purifying all the mental delusions, mental afflictions, and give rise to bodhicitta, step by step, build the bodhicitta. There is no side effect. And it's definite. One day you will be fully perfected and achieve the contentment. See, so it's not a Buddhism. This is interest for everybody. So please reflect on this. This is what I'm saying now. Where I explaining, I try to make sense. Dharma is not as a Buddhism, but as a whole for everybody's interests, as a cause for peace and happiness, as a cause for suffering. So how to avoid the cause of suffering and gather, accumulate the cause for peace and happiness. It's not just mere empty. We don't make empty, but try to understand everything within in the constitutes within the emptiness. See? So this is intelligence. See? So if you practice bodhicitta, of course, bodhicitta depends on many causes, you see. First, not attached to the samsara, especially the cause of samsara. You see, cause, basically it's a cause of samsara, cause of suffering. We have to have a wisdom. Then take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Taking refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha is not a Buddhism. It's a special method, a gate opening the door for the liberation. No. We say if you take refuge, you become Buddhist. That doesn't mean you are brainwashed. Sometimes people think taking refuge is a brainwash. Taking refuge means you're accepting the Buddha's wisdom. See, that you study, practice that path. So it's the first door to open for the liberation. And all the way to Buddhahood, we study, practice refuge. About Buddha, about Dharma, about Sangha. There's no any Buddhist teaching without connection to this Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Even you practice highest yoga tantra, still is about refuge. See? So please understand this. Then verse, how we are doing? Everyone doing okay?
I'm fine.
Oh, okay. Oh, so we follow joyfully. As I mentioned, this is very important. There in the samsara, we enjoy the cause of suffering. Due to ignorance, delusion. Even those deluded individuals enjoy of the cause of suffering. Why not we, who are practicing cause for peace and happiness, have the joy, appreciation? See, it's another, I mentioned before many times, study, practicing Dharma means to become a better person. A person who has some source of peace, happiness. Buddha said, if you cannot help others, then don't harm others, you see. These two lines are so precious. See, if you cannot help others, don't harm others. First we start not to harm others. Because if I harm others, I'm creating negative karma for myself. So for my own benefit, I don't harm others, you see. On the basis of this, then if I help others, get the benefit. Nobody will take away that. So that's why Buddha's teaching is so skillful. First start with the Theravada. So don't harm others. All in the Vinaya, you see, look at in the Vinaya. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this means don't harm others. Don't create negative karma for yourself. See? Sometimes we say, oh, this is Hinayana. No. So this is Hinayana system. We say, it's not that. It's a step you take, gradual. It's a lamrim, the stage is the path. Step by step you follow. It's not just as other dimension. It's not just for monks and nuns alone. It's the interest of everybody. We all lay practitioners. We want peace and happiness, you see. We don't want suffering. Because of this, you see, there's no negotiation. There's no excuse. You say, oh, I'm a layperson, so I can do this, I can do that, you know. That means it's okay if I'm suffering, you know. because it's lays on the cause, you see. So you are ordained monks and nuns. You are not allowed to do this, and I am allowed to do this. You know, see, there is such kind of allowances that do not become monks and nuns. You see, since that's the case, we follow step by step. You see, first we follow kindergarten, then we follow the preschool. Elementary school, then college, high school, college, university, you see. All the steps we take. Same thing here. It's very practical. So how Buddha was so skillful, you see. Steps we take. So please aware this, okay? Because even in Tibetan, you know, I met, you know, so sometimes I advise them, don't do this, don't do that, you know, and they say, oh, we are householders, so we are also okay to do something like this, you know. So then I argue them. So if suffering comes, do you say, the suffering is okay because I'm a householder? And they laugh, you know. So I'm a little bit kind of severe, I'm a debater, you know. You know, generally, you see, I try to make sense about these things. Then we practice step by step. No? Like say a kindergarten, a child cannot read like those children who are in the high school. So kindergarten, the child maybe can learn how to play, read maybe alphabet, that much they can do. So we practitioners, we start from there and then follow step by step, you see. But always very important to purify our mental afflictions. That's our central focus. Okay, and then I think the 65. Now it's following step by step more, you see. And since they never have enough of pleasure, honey on the razor's edge, how could they have enough of merit, fruit of which are peace, happiness, and peace? In the samsara, you see the 5 sensorial object, you see. 5 sensorial object to see beautiful things for the eyes. You need such a lot of beautiful things to satisfy your eyes. You need a lot of beautiful sounds for your ears. And such a great fragrance to your nose. And scrumptious, delicious for your tongue. You never satisfy how much you have them. See, so it is like a honey on the razor. The razor is so dangerous because so sharp. The honey is delicious. Your tongue like to taste the honey, but underneath there's such a danger. Still that kind of pleasure, you are not satisfied. People go into that, jump into that, plunk into that environment. So we're indulged in these 5 sensorial objects. And then usually how many sufferings are there in the world? You see, look around everywhere now. It's not just only West or East, every country. Because it's mentioned, the mental afflictions is the culture of the samsara. No. When I was in US here, in the 80s, there's called Tibetan Buddhism, So there's some Western scholars, they're discussing, now we should have American Buddhism. There's called Tibetan Buddhism. Now we should have American Buddhism or Western Buddhism, So I thought, you see, so they are talking about the culture, not talking the Buddhist teaching. Culture-wise, yes, you can talk. So like the High Lama sitting on the high throne, very expensive throne, made of gold, silver, turquoise, ornamented, bouquets, you see, and then big umbrella on the head. See, it's called canopies. And then you see the trumpets, cymbals, yes, and then some monk dances. So those are just culture. So in America, we can have a special mosque. But Buddha's teaching, mental affliction, there's no such called American mental afflictions and Tibetan mental afflictions, The anger is the anger. Desire is the desire. Everyone has it. Even animals have it. And we all are suffering from this, you see. So there's what I'm talking is 5 sensorial objects. We put so much emphasis on these 5 sensorial objects. How to enrich like delicious food, scrumptious food, you know. So in the samsara, people risk their life for these objects, of these desirable objects. You know? So this is so wonderful, you know. So we, Bodhisattvas, the practitioner of the bodhicitta, to achieve enlightenment, Buddhahood, for the benefit of sentient beings. So how you can satisfy just small practice? So you know, how could they have enough of merit? Merit means here 2 accumulations. Accumulation of merit and wisdom both. See, a fruit of which are happiness means next life for higher status, to be reborn as a human God. The God realms or human realms is called happiness. Generally, in the human life, have more happiness than animals. Like now here in medicine, I see we have a lot of snow this last few days. Now I can see the birds here, squirrels here. They have no food now because the snow is covered up. So I wonder how they survive, you know. And we human beings, we collect food and warm house, warm water, you see. So we are much better off than those animals outside, you see. So it's called happiness. When there's wealth to eat food, for clothes, place to live, there's happiness. If there's no food, no clothes, no place to live, there's no happiness. So this happiness comes from the merit, practice of generosity. So this is special designed Buddha, you know. Your happiness has come from the practice of generosity, not kind of say exploitation, exploiting others. No. This is very clear, you see. In a place where there's, you know, they share, do the contributions. Like say in the United States, I say, there are so many unemployed. So the government tried to arrange to share wealth to the people, those who lost the job. So I think it's a really wonderful thing, no? Sharing to the people who need. That's called practice of generosity. They collect the tax, and now when the people need, they share back to the people. It's practice of generosity. That brings a peace and happiness. As well, practicing morality. As I mentioned, morality means avoiding all the non-virtue and practicing the virtue. That's called practice of morality. So these all 6 parameters are designed to purify all our mental afflictions and follow the right path for peace and happiness. That's why I mentioned it's called the action bodhicitta. No. First, we establish the aspiration bodhicitta, and then the action bodhicitta follows step by step. Through this practice, when you realize emptiness, that's called ultimate bodhicitta. Means that all our mental afflictions are totally cannot uproot by the realization of the emptiness. So emptiness is the total remedy to uproot the mental afflictions. Without the realization of the emptiness, we cannot uproot our total delusions. We can minimize, reduce, not from the root. So please understand that. So in happiness, peace is nirvana, enlightenment. So all the peace and happiness in the samsara for nirvana, to achieve nirvana, is by the practice of bodhicitta, in this case here. So that's the. Then the last one. How we practice that, you see here. Verse 66. The elephant tormented by the mundane sun will dive into the water of a lake. This is just example. Here, noonday sun means in a very hot country. No, very hot country. So the noonday, at the noon, the sun is so hot and we're bound by the heat. Especially elephant is so big and tortured, tormented by this heat. When the elephant sees the lake, just without any doubt, run into the lake to get shower or to get this washed by the water, swim in the water, feels so fresh, protecting from the heat. So we should see samsara is like that sunburn of the elephant. So here saying, and likewise, I must plunk into my work, means study, here work, study, contemplate, practice meditation about the bodhicitta, how to attain Buddhahood, to free from samsara, and to help all sentient beings. That's my work. What a wonderful, you see. Even in the samsara, as I mentioned the other day, the leader, the head of the country, is thinking for more others. So I'm here for you. I'm a service. I'm so happy that I can serve you. I will do my best what I can do to help the country, to help you. So people are so happy. See, people of that country appreciate that kind of leader. And he or she does so sincerely. So sincerely. You're staying in the high office, but you're working for the people. And if you feel privileged, I got this job. I'm so fortunate to serve my country, to serve the people of this country, then people will respect that person so much. You see, it's a source of peace, source of joy. So Bodhisattvas is this idea. No? It's not, as I mentioned, it's not a Buddhism. And here we are taught by Buddha to free from samsara, to achieve enlightenment. No. Through the study, practice of the causality, you see, when Buddha said you have to accumulate merit wisdom, means we have to collect the cause. It's describing, teaching about the causality, you see. It's not a Buddhism. So please make sure to understand more and more on this, because we are so oriented to the Buddhist, this is a Buddhist philosophy. This is a Buddhist belief. This is a Buddhist tenets. All the tenet system you talk about. This Buddhist, where we are talking about bodhicitta, our mind becomes so narrow. Here I try to break that narrow. Break the wall and open your mind as the space. Buddha taught that way, and we have to contemplate in that way, practice that way. So there's nothing to prejudice with anybody. There's no one to judge. So we have to kind of work hard on this way, So that's it. And likewise, I must plunge into my work that I might bring it to completion, you see. When you become Buddha, it's completed. Your work is completed. Means you purified all your obscurations. You accumulated all the excellent qualities. Now you're ready to benefit all sentient beings without reservation, without limit. Then you practice effortlessly. That's why you have heard of play, the play of the Dharmakaya. The word you find in the Mahamudra Dzongsar is a play of the Rigpa, You achieve Buddhahood, then it becomes the play of the wisdom. Buddha's mind, the Rigpa, the mind itself. Then it comes uncontrived. So it's a relative bodhicitta, absolute bodhicitta. See? Then, okay. Now, verse 67, do you remember? The relinquish force. Relinquish means how to take rest. If you're so tired, physically, mentally, but don't quit, don't give up. Take some rest and start again for the completion. Okay, so here, if impaired, not impaired, impaired, you see, by weakness or fatigue, you see, you feel low down. So now my mind is not so clear. Or physically, I'm not so capable. Maybe I cannot follow. Maybe I cannot practice due to weakness. When you are tired, fatigue, you see, I will lay the work aside. So for the time being, a little bit rest. Take a vacation for a few days. When you're hot, either you go to the mountain to get the breeze, or go to the ocean to get some swimming. So that is said, better to resume, you see, to start again, to do again. I know there are so many people, they kind of know, they put aside totally, they give up. First, they're so interested, want to sit, oh, Buddhism is so good, I want to study, practice. And after some time, they give up fully, Said, don't do that, It's okay to get some rest if you're tired, Sometimes you're overwhelmed. I met some people who said, oh, when you hear this, I'm overwhelmed and I cannot do this. Please, please forgive me. Some nice people, So I'm overwhelmed. I cannot do this. This is not for me. They give up fully. And then many others, they don't do it. They just give up. They just run away, So it's very sad, you see. You get rest. As mentioned, the mind, this is mind. See, the mind is so complex. One time you're so interested, you have full energy. Say, I want to do it. I can do it. Then after some time, oh, this is not for me. It is too much. Then you give up. You see how complex your mind is. So look at these things. So here's giving advice. Relinquish means doesn't mean give up fully. Means rest, but energize yourself and then follow. Because if you give up, as I mentioned, there's no other alternative, you see. If I give up this, do I have another choice to free from samsara? We don't have that. If you try any other places you go, you cannot. That's definite. No. So we must follow step by step. No. So what is saying here, you see, the better to resume, you see. And I will leave the task when it is complete. See, then once you start, you complete it, then you start another one. But relax first. Do slowly, slowly. Energize yourself. You never lost interest in the Dharma. Sometimes we follower of the Dharma make mistake. And there are some other people say, look at these Buddhists. They're so bad. Don't follow the Buddhism. That's the very bad judgment. When Buddhists are making mistake, doesn't mean Dharma has mistake. Buddhists, they don't practice Dharma properly, carefully. That's why I used to tell some of my friends, I told them, if I make mistake, you can give up me, but don't give up Dharma. So no, you always pursue Dharma, I said that. Because I'm not perfect. I'm not Buddha. People cannot expect so much from me because I have a lot of limitation. So it's my weakness because I could not practice Dharma fully. So with this judgment, if you give up Dharma, it's so unfortunate. So you see, so this is just some kind of experience that we have, So see, to continue your practice, develop step by step. No, yes, it's other days mentioned, Bodhisattvas, highly accomplished, realize emptiness totally. They can give their head, their arms, no reservation. But that cannot do by the beginner. I cannot give my head. I cannot give my arms. No. So when I cannot do that, it's not because of the limitation of the teachings. It's because of limitation of my practice. So I have to follow step by step. So someday, then I can see my body as a piece of vegetable. Then I can give freely, no attachment. So they're saying, you see, when it is complete, and await for the work that is next to come, you see, step by step. Like there are 5 parts. First part, second part, third, fourth, fifth. There are 10 bhumis, step by step you take, you see. To resume the next project, first you take a little bit rest and then follow. This very good advice, you see. This is delicious. You never give up. Okay. Want to have a short break?
Yes, like 10 minutes again.
Sure. Honorable member, Sarva Siddhi me Prayata, Sarva Karma Sudha me, Chetan Shriya Kuru Hum, ha 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 ho, Baka. Zero Dada Gadam Bendrama Memundam Benzimbawa Ma Samaya Satu. So please reflect that what we went, hour and a half. Okay. Thank you and make break.